Figuring out how to tell your child that they are adopted can be difficult, but you can use adoption bedtime stories to help begin to explain it to them. Today I will be going over some of my favorite children's adoption books that my parents read to me when I was young. The first one I will be going over is A Mother for Choco by Keiko Kaza. This story follows a little yellow bird named Choco as he goes out to search for a mom. He goes to several different kinds of animals on his journey, but they all send him away because they couldn't possibly have given birth to him because they don't look like him. After not being able to find a mom, Choco begins to cry, and that's when a mother bear hears him crying and runs over to comfort him. The mother bear then begins to highlight the things that a mother would do rather than what their appearance is. Choco then goes home with his new mama bear and meets his siblings, a hippo, an alligator, and a pig. I like that this story uses animals to highlight the fact that you don't have to look the same to be a family. You just have to care for one another. The second book I want to go over is You're Not My Real Mother by Molly Friedrich. The story starts out with a girl saying that her mom isn't her real mother. And in response, her mom lists the things that a mother would do, like bandaging a scraped knee, driving them places, cooking, teaching them to say please and thank you, teaching them to read and count, giving kisses, singing lullabies, etc. This book also points out the fact that the things that parents do for their children is just as important, if not more so, than being related by blood. Number 3 is I Don't Have Your Eyes by Carrie A. Kitts. This book points out that even though our bodies don't look alike, we use our bodies to do the same things. It doesn't highlight the literal functions of the body parts. It looks at them in a more philosophical, poetic way we use them as human beings. For example, the way we see the world, the way we hear those in need, stop to smell the flowers, and sing songs. The last line sums up this message. I don't look like you on the outside, but I look inside. And in our hearts, we are the same. What I think is really great about this book is that it can also help with discussions on race and ethnicity and not just in adoption settings. Number 4 is The Red Thread by Grace Lin. This book uses an ancient Chinese belief where an invisible, unbreakable red thread connects those who are destined to be together. The main characters in this story are the adoptive parents, and in this little story, they are a king and queen. One day they discover that they have a pain in their hearts, and they try to find a cure for it, but no doctor or anything is able to find what is wrong with their hearts. That is until a peddler with glasses comes up to them and tells them that they have a red thread coming from their hearts. And he gives them some glasses so that they can see the red thread too. They quickly find that they are unable to cut the thread, so they must untangle it and find what is at the end of this thread. They go on a long, difficult journey and eventually end up at a small village. The end of the threads was in a small house where a baby had the ends of the threads tied around her little ankles. When they asked whose baby she was, an old villager wearing glasses came up to them and saw the threads connecting them, and she said that the baby was theirs. They then returned to their kingdom with their little baby, and they never felt the pain in their hearts again. I really liked this story when I was little because it was a creative way to show a faded connection. Like the thread being all tangled kind of showed the complexities of the journey to finding each other. Even though it's based off of a Chinese belief and the illustration shows an Asian baby, the message still fits any kind of adoption. Number 5 is Mother Bridge of Love by the Mother Bridge of Love charity and illustrated by Jose Mas. I wanted to list the illustrator in this one as well because I think it helped me visualize the message when I was little. This story helps tell adopted children that both of their mothers have shaped them into the people that they are in different ways, one from afar and the other right by their side. The illustration showed the girl and her adoptive mother in various environments and situations, while her birth mother is incorporated into the surroundings, like her face in the moon, her dress becoming the grass, or her face in the leaves of the trees and the clouds. If your child is kind of struggling with the fact that they were abandoned by their birth parents, even though their birth mother isn't physically there, she will always be a part of their lives. Number 6 is I Love You Like Crazy Cakes by Rose Lewis. This story follows the adoptive mother's journey and goes over some of the more technical aspects. It starts off by showing babies in the cribs in an orphanage in China, and that the adoptive mother contacted the Chinese officials to adopt one of those babies before flying to China. It then shows the mother finally meeting her new baby, bonding with her, and returning home to meet the rest of the family. Since the story is from the adoptive mother's perspective, it goes over her excitement and joy as she's going through the entire process. So I think it's a good book to use to help you start a conversation with your child to understand your thoughts and feelings as you went to adopt them. This story is very much targeted towards the Chinese adoptees and adoptive parents, but there may be some similarities to other adoptions, so you could still use it as a jumping off point for a conversation. And finally, number 7, Guji Guji by Chi Yuan Chen. In this story, Guji Guji is a crocodile that was raised by ducks after his egg rolled down a hill into a duck's nest. One day, he meets other crocodiles, and they have to explain to him that he is in fact not a duck, but a crocodile. These crocodiles ask him to trick his family into jumping right into their mouths as they practice their diving. Guji Guji then questions if he's like these bad crocodiles, since he's also a crocodile, and eventually concludes that he is not like them. When all the ducks go to jump into the water, they throw rocks down instead, which break the crocodile's teeth. Guji Guji then celebrates with his duck family and declares himself a crocoduck. I think that this book is helpful for the adopted children who know who their adopted families are or have recently met them, especially if they feel like their birth parents aren't the best role models and they're kind of struggling with that fact. This story emphasizes that nature isn't always stronger than nurture, and it's okay to choose the one that supports you and makes you feel better about yourself and that makes you a better person. Talking about adoption with your child can be very difficult, but you can use these adoption children's books to introduce topics and to help guide and begin conversations on adoption. There are also plenty more of adoption books than the ones I've listed here, so don't worry if none of these have sparked your interest. Alright, that will be all for today's video. Thanks for watching. Bye!